Before you decide to scroll away or doubt whether this is meant for you, pause for just a breath and hear this clearly. I am with you, not above you, not ahead of you, not judging you, but beside you, steady and present, and this message is designed to stay with you for hours the way a calm light stays on in a dark room, because you do not need shouting to be strong and you do not need pressure to move forward. You need companionship in your own mind. And that is what this is meant to be, a long steady voice that does not rush you or demand anything from you, because you have already been carrying enough, and if no one has told you this today then let it land now. You are not weak for feeling tired, you are not behind for moving slowly, and you are not broken because you have questions you cannot answer yet. You are human, and humans move in seasons, not deadlines, and right now your season may be quiet, heavy, uncertain, or neutral, and all of that is allowed, because progress does not always look like movement. Sometimes it looks like staying, sometimes it looks like surviving, sometimes it looks like learning how to breathe without panic, and sometimes it looks like listening to something like this just to feel less alone, and that alone is enough for now, because the truth is that life in the modern world, especially the world you are living in, pushes speed, comparison, achievement, and constant performance, and it rarely teaches people how to sit with themselves without judgment. And so many people feel like they are failing simply because they are not constantly producing visible results, but results are not the only evidence of growth. Endurance is evidence, showing up again after disappointment is evidence, choosing not to quit on yourself even when you feel invisible is evidence, and you have been doing that more than you realize, even on the days when all you did was get through the day. Because getting through the day when your mind is heavy is not small, it is courageous, and this message is not here to push you harder or tell you to hustle more or shame you into action. It is here to remind you that strength is not always loud and confidence is not always energetic. Sometimes strength is quiet consistency and confidence is simply not giving up on your own existence. And if you listen to this for a long time, hours even, it is not because you are escaping your life, it is because you are learning to stay present inside it, and presence is power, even when it feels neutral, even when it feels empty, because neutrality is stability. And stability is what allows real change to happen later without breaking you, and you do not need to force clarity right now. Clarity arrives when pressure leaves, not when it increases, and that is why this message does not rush, it repeats, it circles, it stays, because staying is something you are learning how to do, staying with discomfort without letting it define you, staying with uncertainty without letting it convince you that you are lost, staying with yourself even when you do not feel impressive, and that skill, that ability to remain, will carry you further than motivation ever could, because motivation comes and goes, but steadiness builds a life, and there will be moments when you feel like nothing is happening, when you wonder if listening to something like this even matters, and in those moments remember this: roots grow in silence, foundations set underground, and no one applauds that phase. But without it nothing stands. And you are building something inside yourself that is not meant to be flashy, it is meant to last, and lasting requires patience. Is not passive, it is active trust in yourself, and that trust may feel small right now, but it exists, otherwise you would not be here listening, otherwise you would have quit on yourself completely. And you did not, and that matters, even if no one else sees it, because you see it, even if only faintly, and as you continue to listen, let go of the idea that you need to feel inspired or emotional or uplifted. You do not need to feel anything special for this to be working, simply being here is enough, because your nervous system learns safety through repetition, not intensity, and safety is what allows your mind to open instead of defend, and when your mind stops defending, it starts creating, slowly, naturally, without force, and that is where your next chapter will come from, not from panic, not from fear, not from comparison, but from calm awareness, and yes, there will still be challenges. Uncertainty does not disappear forever, doubt does not vanish completely, but you become someone who can hold those things without collapsing, and that is real power. And if you ever feel like you are falling behind others, remember that everyone is running a different race with different starting points, different weights, different responsibilities, and comparing yourself to someone else without knowing their full story is unfair to you, and you deserve fairness from yourself at least. And if your energy is low, rest without guilt, because rest is not quitting, rest is maintenance. And if your energy is high, move gently, not violently, because you are not at war with your life, you are learning how to live it, and living is not about constant improvement, it is about alignment, and alignment feels calm, not frantic. And if you feel calm listening to this, even slightly, that is alignment happening quietly, and you do not need to announce it. You do not need to prove it. You do not need to monetize it. You just need to allow it, and allow yourself to be human. Imperfect. Evolving, sometimes lost, sometimes clear, sometimes neutral, sometimes tired, sometimes hopeful, all of it belongs, and nothing about you needs to be fixed before you are worthy of peace. You are worthy now, as you are, in this moment, listening, breathing, existing, and this message stays with you not to control you but to remind you gently, again and again, that you are not alone inside your own mind, that you do not have to carry everything in silence, that even in the quietest hours, when nothing seems to move, you are still moving forward simply by staying, and staying is enough for now, and tomorrow will take care of itself when you arrive there, and until then, I am with you, steady, patient, present, and you can keep listening as long as you need, because there is no deadline here, no finish line to cross, only a long safe stretch of time where you are allowed to exist without pressure, and that is not weakness, that is wisdom. And when you are ready, not rushed, not forced, but ready, you will move again, naturally, confidently, without fear, because you took the time to build yourself instead of breaking yourself, and that is how real lives are made, quietly, steadily, one calm hour at a time. I am with you even now as this continuation unfolds, and you do not need to restart your focus or prepare yourself, because this message does not demand effort. It only asks you to remain where you are while the weight you have been carrying slowly loosens its grip. You may not realize it yet, but the reason you are still listening is because something inside you has refused to quit even when everything else felt uncertain, and that quiet refusal is strength, not the loud dramatic kind but the durable kind that survives long nights and unanswered questions. I am with you in the moments when motivation fades and discipline feels heavy and your mind starts questioning whether it is all worth it, and in those moments I want you to remember that progress is not always loud. Sometimes it is invisible, sometimes it is simply choosing to stay instead of walking away, sometimes it is choosing to listen instead of shutting down. You are not behind, you are not late, you are exactly where your growth has brought you, and growth does not move in straight lines, it moves in waves, pauses, reflections, and silent rebuilding. You have already survived. Simply means listening, breathing, staying present. You do not need to solve your entire life today. You do not need to see the full path ahead. Clarity comes in pieces, not all at once, and forcing it only creates frustration. Trust that understanding arrives when the mind is ready, not when it is pressured. I am with you when you compare yourself to others and feel left behind, because comparison ignores context and you are carrying a different story, a different set of challenges, a different pace, and your pace is not wrong, it is yours, and anything built at your pace will fit you better, last longer, and feel more authentic than anything rushed to impress others. You are not here to perform, you are here to build something real, even if no one is watching, even if no one applauds. Consistency without applause is one of the rarest strengths, and you are learning it slowly, quietly, imperfectly, but genuinely. There will be days when you feel nothing. In those days are not empty, they are neutral, and neutrality is not absence, it is balance. Before the next shift, you are not required to feel inspired every day. Discipline does not always feel powerful, sometimes it feels boring, repetitive, and lonely, and yet it is discipline that changes lives, not bursts of excitement. I am with you when your mind replays old mistakes and tries to convince you that your past defines your future, but growth does not work that way. Lessons are meant to inform, not imprison. You are allowed to evolve beyond who you were. And anyone who only sees your past is simply unfamiliar with your becoming. You are not responsible for staying the same to make others comfortable. You are responsible for moving forward in alignment with who you are becoming, even if that process feels slow, unclear, or uncomfortable. You are not weak for needing reassurance. Sometimes strength requires reminders, and that is why this message exists, to remind you that you are not alone in this process, even when it feels solitary, even when no one checks in, even when progress feels invisible. I am with you, reminding you that persistence does not shout, it whispers, and it keeps going when enthusiasm fades. You do not need to rush the version of you that is coming, it is already on its way, being built through repetition, patience, and resilience. And every moment you choose to stay instead of quit, you are reinforcing that foundation. Nothing you are doing right now is wasted, even the confusion, even the waiting, even the quiet days, they are shaping your capacity to handle what comes next. You are becoming someone who can carry responsibility, success, pressure, and growth without collapsing, and that takes time, more time than social media admits, more time than motivation videos promise, but it is real and it lasts. I am with you, reminding you that your worth is not measured by speed, productivity, or external validation. It is inherent, it exists whether you achieve today or not, and when you finally reach the next level you will realize it was built during the days you felt like nothing was happening. Keep listening, keep breathing, keep showing up in the small ways, because small ways repeated become a powerful life, and you are already on that path, even if you cannot see the destination yet. I am with you, and I will continue to be with you through the silence, through the effort, through the waiting, and through the breakthrough that will arrive in its own time. Listen before you decide anything else, because this moment is not accidental and your presence here is not random. I am with you now, not to push you forward and not to pull you back, but to stand beside you while everything feels heavy, quiet, confusing, or unfinished. And even if you feel like you are carrying too much without clear reason, you are not carrying it alone. I am with you in the pause between thoughts, in the space where words feel unnecessary and explanations feel tiring, and you do not need to prepare yourself for this presence or understand it fully, because it does not require effort, belief, or action. It only requires that you allow it to exist alongside you as you are right now, without improvement, without correction, without performance. There will be moments when your mind searches for direction, meaning, or reassurance, and those moments do not mean weakness, they mean you are human, and humans are wired to look for certainty even when none is needed, and in those moments when questions rise without answers, remember I am with you, not as a solution but as steadiness, not as noise but as grounding. You may feel tired without knowing why, or restless without knowing what you want, and neither state is a problem. They are simply signals passing through, and you do not need to fix them immediately or label them correctly. You are allowed to exist without clarity and still be supported. Time may feel slow, stretched, repetitive, or blurred. And that does not mean you are stuck. It means you are present inside something deeper than urgency, and urgency is not required for growth. Growth often happens quietly when nothing seems to be happening at all, when there is no applause, no visible change, no dramatic shift, only steady continuation beneath the surface. And I am with you in that unseen space where patience is built without announcement. You may compare yourself to others or to an imagined version of who you think you should be by now, and that comparison may create pressure. But pressure is not truth. It is a story created by distance between expectation and reality does not need to justify itself. You are not late, you are not early, you are exactly where your current awareness has brought you, and that is enough for this moment. If your thoughts repeat, circle, or fade, that is fine. If emotions feel flat, muted, or overwhelming, that is fine too. Nothing here needs to be filtered or optimized. You do not need to become calm or motivated or productive to deserve steadiness. You already deserve it simply by being here, breathing, listening, continuing. And if you feel like no one sees the effort it takes just to keep going on ordinary days, know that I am with you in that effort, in the silent resilience of showing up again and again without recognition. Strength is not always loud. Sometimes it is the quiet decision not to give up even when nothing feels certain. You do not need to rush toward confidence. Confidence grows naturally when you stop forcing it, when you allow yourself to move at a pace that does not betray your inner balance. And you are learning that pace now, even if it feels unfamiliar. There is nothing wrong with needing time, and there is nothing wrong with resting inside uncertainty. You are not falling behind. Life is not a race with checkpoints you must hit by a deadline. It is a continuous unfolding, and some chapters feel slow because they are meant to deepen you, not impress others. And I am with you while you learn to trust that slower unfolding. If doubt arises, let it arise. If hope feels distant, let it be distant. Neither state defines your worth, neither state is permanent, and you do not need to chase a feeling to be aligned. Alignment comes from allowing yourself to be real rather than ideal, and in this realness you are not alone. I am with you in the background of your day, in the quiet moments when you exhale without noticing, in the small pauses between actions and thoughts, and even when you forget this presence, it does not disappear. I am with you even now as you continue listening, and even if you feel tired of listening, even if your mind drifts, even if you wonder why you are still here, because this message is not here to push you, it is here to stay with you, and staying is sometimes more powerful than pushing. You do not have to rise suddenly. You do not have to change today. You do not have to prove strength in loud ways. Real strength is quiet and steady and patient. Real strength is choosing not to give up even when nothing feels dramatic, even when motivation is low, even when the world does not notice. I am with you in those silent hours when you keep going without applause, when your effort is invisible, when your heart feels heavy but you still move forward slowly. You may feel behind others, you may feel late, you may feel uncertain, but none of that cancels your worth or your direction. Growth does not always feel like growth. Sometimes it feels like confusion, sometimes it feels like waiting. Sometimes it feels like standing still while something inside you rearranges itself. And that inner rearranging is important even if it looks like nothing from the outside. Do not rush it, Do not insult your journey by comparing it to someone else's timeline. Your pace is not wrong, your pauses are not failures, your quiet persistence matters more than loud ambition. I am with you when feel brave. Sometimes it feels like simply not stopping. I am with you as you learn to breathe through pressure instead of fighting it, as you learn that consistency is more powerful than intensity, as you learn that discipline is not punishment but care for your future self. Nothing you are doing is wasted if it is honest. Even the slow days are shaping you. Even the confused days are teaching you. Stay steady. Stay present. Stay kind to yourself. You are not alone in this moment. You never were, and you do not have to rush the becoming, because I am with you now. I will be with you while you grow, and I will be with you even when growth feels invisible. I am with you even now as you continue forward through this unseen distance between who you were and who you are becoming, and I want you to understand that this stretch of time where nothing dramatic seems to happen is not empty, it is formative, it is where endurance is built quietly without applause, because the strongest people are not created in moments of excitement, they are formed in moments of repetition, patience and silent choice when no one is watching, and you may feel at times that your effort disappears into nothing, but effort never vanishes, it settles into you, it strengthens your internal structure so that when pressure arrives you do not collapse, you stand without needing to prove anything. I am with you in the moments when doubt speaks louder than confidence, and when your mind replays old failures as if they are predictions, but they are not prophecies, they are memories, and memories do not decide your future unless you let them, and you are learning now how to move forward without dragging the past behind you. Every step you take while tired, every decision you make while uncertain is training you to trust yourself without external validation, and that trust is rare, powerful and permanent. I am with you when progress feels slow, because slow progress still moves, and it often moves in the right direction longer than rushed motivation ever could, and there will be days when you feel disconnected, uninspired or emotionally flat, and those days are not signs of weakness, they are signs that your system is stabilizing after growth, because growth requires recovery just as much as effort, and rest is not quitting, it is maintenance. I am with you as you learn that discipline is not punishment, it is protection. It protects your future energy, your clarity and your peace, and every time you choose consistency over comfort you are casting a vote for the person you are becoming, even if you do not feel different yet. The difference is already forming beneath the surface, and one day you will look back and realize the moment you stopped chasing instant results was the moment your life began to align sustainably. I am with you when you feel behind, because life is not a race with a single timeline, it is a process of alignment, and everyone arrives at their own truth through different paths, and yours does not need to resemble anyone else's to be valid. You are not late, you are precise, you are arriving when you are ready to hold what you are building and not before, and that patience will save you from breaking under success you were not prepared for. I am with you as you learn that confidence is not loud, it is calm, it is the quiet knowing that you can handle what comes without needing to rehearse disasters in your mind, and as you develop this calm you will notice that external chaos affects you less, that reactions slow down and choices become clearer, and that clarity will attract opportunities that chaos never could, because clarity is magnetic. I am with you as you continue even when motivation fades, because motivation is temporary but commitment is dependable, and commitment does not require emotion, it only requires decision, and you have already decided by staying, by listening, by continuing, and that decision matters more than any surge of inspiration ever could. This journey is not about becoming perfect, it is about becoming grounded, steady and real, and you are doing that now, one quiet moment at a time, and I remain with you, not to push you, not to rush you, but to remind you that you are not alone in this process and never have been, even when it felt that way, and you will continue forward carrying this steadiness with you long after these words fade, because what you are building now is internal, and internal strength does not disappear, it stays, it holds. And it carries you forward exactly when you need it most. Even now, when your energy feels uneven and your thoughts feel tired, I am with you, not to push you but to remain beside you, because strength is not always loud. Sometimes strength is simply continuing without collapsing into self-doubt. You may feel that you have repeated the same effort many times without visible reward, and that repetition can feel heavy, but repetition is also how resilience is quietly formed. You are not looping, you are layering experience, wisdom, patience and inner control. Even when progress looks still, it is accumulating inside you. There are moments when silence feels uncomfortable because it leaves you alone with your thoughts, but silence is also where you learn that you can survive without constant reassurance. You do not need to feel powerful every hour to be powerful in your life. You only need to stay present without abandoning yourself, and that is what you are doing right now, staying here, listening, continuing, and that matters more than dramatic action ever could. There will be times when others misunderstand your pace or your process, but clarity does not come from explanation, it comes from alignment, and alignment grows when you stop forcing outcomes and start trusting consistency. You are allowed to move slowly, you are allowed to rest without guilt, and you are allowed to rebuild without announcing it. This journey is not about proving anything to anyone, it is about becoming steady enough that circumstances no longer decide your worth or direction. And even when doubt whispers that you are behind, remember that depth is never rushed. The strongest foundations are built quietly underground before anything visible stands above it. You are not late, you are becoming durable, and that takes time, patience and repetition. There may be days when you feel emotionally flat and assume something is wrong, but neutrality is often a sign that your nervous system is stabilizing after long periods of stress. Calm is not boredom, calm is safety, and safety is where growth becomes sustainable. You do not need to chase motivation, because motivation fades, discipline fades, intensity fades, but presence endures, and you are learning to stay present even when nothing exciting is happening. That skill will carry you through moments where others quit because they depended on emotion instead of commitment. You are not here to escape discomfort, you are here to outgrow it without becoming hardened, and that balance is rare. You are allowed to be gentle without being weak, and strong without being aggressive. Every step you take, even the invisible ones, are shaping a version of you that can hold pressure without breaking and opportunity without panic. And through every quiet minute of this process, remember this truth: you are not alone in it. I am with you in the pauses, in the repetition, in the uncertainty, in the patience, and in the slow, steady unfolding of the person you are becoming. Casting a vote for the person you are becoming, even if you do not feel different yet. The difference is already forming beneath the surface, and one day you will look back and realize the moment you stopped chasing instant results was the moment your life began to align sustainably. I am with you when you feel behind, because life is not a race with a single timeline, it is a process of alignment, and everyone arrives at their own truth through different paths, and yours does not need to resemble anyone else's to be valid. You are not late, you are precise, you are arriving when you are ready to hold what you are building and not before, and that patience will save you from breaking under success you were not prepared for. I am with you as you learn that confidence is not loud, it is calm, it is the quiet knowing that you can handle what comes without needing to rehearse disasters in your mind. And as you develop this calm, you will notice that external chaos affects you less, that reactions slow down and choices become clearer, and that clarity will attract opportunities that chaos never could, because clarity is magnetic. I am with you as you continue even when motivation fades, because motivation is temporary but commitment is dependable, and commitment does not require emotion, it only requires decision, and you have already decided by staying, by listening, by continuing, and that decision matters more than any